Every human being walks through life, searching for happiness, meaning, and peace. Some people spend years chasing success, yet they still feel empty. Others have very little, but they smile every day and live with calm hearts. The difference is not money, status, or luck. The difference is wisdom. Life teaches powerful lessons, but many people learn them too late. Some learn them after failure. Some learn them after heartbreak. Some learn them after losing something important. But the truth is simple. If a person learns the right lessons early, their life becomes stronger, calmer, and this journey contains 12 powerful lessons. These lessons are simple, but they can change the direction of a life forever. Each lesson has been learned by people through struggle, growth, and experience. When you understand them deeply, your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become wiser, and your life becomes stronger. Chapter 1. The Lesson of Self-Responsibility. Life begins to change the moment a person understands one simple truth. Every person is responsible for the direction of their own life. Many people grow up believing their future depends on circumstances around them. They think success belongs only to people born in better families, or better cities, or better situations. Because of this belief, they spend years blaming the world for their problems. They blame parents for not giving enough support. They blame teachers for not guiding them properly. They blame the system for being unfair. They blame friends for bad influence. They blame luck for not being on their side. Blaming others may give temporary comfort, but it slowly steals personal power. When a person blames others, they unknowingly tell their mind that they have no control. And when the mind believes it has no control, it stops trying to improve. But the day a person decides to accept responsibility, something powerful happens inside them. Their thinking changes. Their actions change. Their future begins to change. Self-responsibility means understanding that while life may not always be fair, your response to life is always your choice. Every human being faces challenges. Some people face financial struggle. Some face family problems. Some face failure and rejection. Some face disappointment again and again. But two people can face the same situation and still end up with completely different lives. The difference is responsibility. One person waits for someone to rescue them. Another person decides to rescue themselves. This difference may seem small, but it changes everything. Imagine a young man named Armin. Armin grew up in a small town where opportunities were limited. His school had few resources. His neighborhood had very little encouragement for education. Many people around him believed that success was only possible for people living in big cities. As Armin grew older, he started believing the same thing. Whenever he struggled in school, he blamed the poor education system. Whenever he failed an exam, he blamed the difficulty of the subject. Whenever he felt unmotivated, he blamed his environment. Years passed, but nothing improved. One day, Armin met an elderly teacher in a small local library. The teacher watched him complain about life and then quietly said something simple. Your life will not change until you stop blaming the world and start building yourself. Armin was silent for a long time. At first, he felt angry because he believed the teacher did not understand his problems. But later that night, he thought deeply about those words. He realized something important. Even though many things around him were difficult, he still had choices. He could choose to learn more. He could choose to work harder. He could choose to build skills. He could choose to improve himself. No one could stop him from doing these things. That night, Armin made a decision. He would stop blaming and start taking responsibility. The next morning, his habits began to change. He woke up earlier than usual. He started reading books from the library. He practiced subjects he previously ignored. He asked questions whenever he did not understand something. At first, progress was slow, but slowly something amazing happened. His confidence began to grow. Because responsibility is something powerful to the human mind. It replaces helplessness with control. When people believe they control their actions, they become stronger and more focused. Months passed and Armin started performing better in school. Teachers noticed his effort. One of them helped him apply for a scholarship program. That scholarship allowed him to continue his education in a better college. Years later, Armin built a successful career and eventually started helping students from small towns like his own. When people asked him about his success, he always said one thing: "My life changed the day I stopped blaming my problems and started solving them." This story teaches an important truth. Self-responsibility does not mean life will suddenly become easy. Challenges will still appear. Problems will still exist. But when a person accepts responsibility, they become stronger than their problems. They stop waiting for perfect conditions. Instead, they start building progress step by step. Another example can be seen in a woman named Sarah. Sarah worked in a small office job that she did not enjoy. Every day she complained about her boss. She complained about her salary. She complained about the lack of opportunities. For years, she believed her life was controlled by her workplace. One evening, she attended a public talk about personal growth. The speaker asked a powerful question. If your life stays exactly the same for the next 10 years, who is responsible? Many people in the audience blamed their environment. But the speaker answered differently. You may not control every event in your life, but you control your growth, your learning, and your decisions. Those words stayed, and she realized she had spent years complaining without making serious changes. Instead of learning new skills, she waited for promotion. Instead of improving herself, she waited for recognition. Instead of building opportunities, she waited for them to appear. That night, she made a decision. She would take responsibility for her future. She began learning new professional skills in the evening. She studied online courses. She practiced communication and leadership abilities. She slowly prepared herself for better opportunities. After 2 years of effort, she applied for a new position in a different company. This time she was prepared. She succeeded in the interview and received a much better job. When people asked how she changed her life, she explained something very simple. Nothing outside changed first. I changed first. This is the true power of responsibility. It shifts focus from excuses to solutions. It turns complaints into action. It transforms ordinary people into capable individuals. Self-responsibility also teaches emotional strength. When people blame others for their feelings, they become controlled by those people. For example, someone might say, "My happiness depends on what others do." But when a person takes responsibility for their emotions, they understand something deeper. They understand that their thoughts shape their feelings. Instead of reacting to everything around them, they learn to guide their own mindset. This creates inner stability. People with strong responsibility do not collapse easily during difficulty. They adapt. They learn. They continue moving forward. History also shows many examples of individuals who accepted responsibility despite difficult beginnings. Many successful inventors, artists, leaders, and entrepreneurs started with but they believed something important. Their future depended more on their effort than their circumstances. Responsibility does not mean ignoring challenges. It means refusing to surrender to them. A responsible person does not ask, "Why is life unfair?" Instead, they ask, "What can I do with the situation I have?" This mindset creates progress. Progress may begin slowly, but it builds momentum over time. Each small improvement leads to greater opportunities. Each effort increases confidence. Each lesson builds wisdom. Responsibility also improves relationships. When people accept responsibility for their actions, they stop blaming others during conflict. Instead of saying everything is someone else's fault, they look at their own behavior. They ask themselves how they can communicate better. They ask how they can improve understanding. This attitude creates respect and maturity. People trust individuals who take responsibility, because responsibility shows honesty and strength. Another important aspect of responsibility is personal discipline. When a person accepts responsibility, they stop waiting for motivation. They build habits. They create routines. They follow commitments even when the mood is not perfect. This consistency slowly shapes character. Over time, a responsible person becomes reliable, strong, and capable. Many young people believe success requires perfect conditions. But the truth is, success usually begins in imperfect situations. Those who succeed are often those who accept responsibility earlier than others. They do not wait for life to change. They change themselves first. And when they change themselves, the world around them slowly responds. The lesson of self-responsibility is therefore one of the most powerful lessons in life. It is the moment when a person stops living as a victim of circumstances and begins living as the creator of their own future. Every decision, every habit, every effort becomes a step toward a better life. And the most beautiful part of this lesson is that it is available to every human being. No matter where someone starts, no matter what challenges they face, the choice to accept responsibility always remains within their control. The moment the choice is made, a new life begins to take shape. A life built not on excuses, but on courage, effort, and growth. Chapter 2. The Lesson of Time Value. One of the greatest lessons a human being can learn in life is the true value of time. Time is the silent force that shapes every life. Every dream, every achievement, every regret, and every memory is connected to how a person uses their time. Unlike money, time cannot be saved in a bank. Unlike opportunities, time cannot return once it passes. Every morning, each person receives the same gift. A new day, 24 hours filled with possibility. But the way people treat this gift decides the direction of their lives. Some people treat time carelessly. They delay their goals. They postpone their plans. They spend hours. They believe there will always be more time later. Years pass quietly. Dreams remain unfinished. Regret slowly replaces hope. Other people treat time with respect. They understand that every hour carries value. They know that small actions repeated daily can build a powerful future. They use their time to learn, improve, create, and grow. Because of this simple difference, their lives move forward. Time is often invisible while it is passing. People rarely notice its importance until it is already gone. This is why learning the lesson of time early in life can change everything. Consider the story of a young woman named Sarah. Sarah had always loved stories and dreamed of becoming a writer. From a young age, she imagined writing books that would inspire people. But as she grew older, life became busy. She found a job in a small office. Every day she worked from morning until evening. When she returned home, she felt tired. She told herself she would start writing tomorrow. But tomorrow always became another tomorrow. Instead of writing, she watched television for many hours. She scrolled through her phone. She spent time on entertainment. She told herself she needed rest. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Months slowly turned into years. Her dream of writing remained only a dream. One evening, Sarah visited a library after work. There she noticed an elderly man sitting quietly with several books around him. He seemed peaceful and focused. Sarah started a conversation with him, and they spoke about books and life. During their conversation, Sarah admitted something honestly. She said that she always wanted to become a writer, but never found the time. The old man smiled gently and said something simple but powerful. People rarely fail because they lack time. People fail because they do not protect their time. Sarah felt those words deeply. She realized that every evening she actually had time. She simply gave it away to distractions. The problem was not the lack of time. The problem was the lack of discipline in how she used it. That night, Sarah made an important decision. She would dedicate 1 hour every day to writing. Just 1 hour. No excuses. No distractions. No delays. The next evening she opened her notebook and began writing. At first, the words came slowly. Sometimes she felt tired after work. Sometimes she felt uninspired. But she continued because she understood something new. Consistency with time creates progress. 1 hour every day may seem small, but when repeated every day, it becomes powerful. After 1 month, she had written many pages. After 6 months, she had developed confidence in her writing. After 1 year, she completed her first manuscript. That manuscript later became her first published book. People who heard her story often believed she had suddenly found success. But the truth was different. Her success was built from hundreds of small hours of focused effort. This is the true power of respecting time. Time does not reward people immediately, but it quietly rewards those who use it wisely. Another example can be seen in a young student named Hamid. Hamid wanted to perform well in his studies, but he often struggled. Every evening he planned to study, but he became distracted by games and social media. Hours passed quickly without him noticing. When exam season arrived, he tried to study everything in a short period. The pressure became overwhelming. His results were poor, and he felt frustrated. One day his teacher asked him a question. "How many hours do you spend studying every day?" Hamid hesitated before answering. "Very little." Then the teacher asked another question. "How many hours do you spend on your phone?" Hamid realized the answer immediately. Many hours. The teacher explained an important truth. Your future will be shaped by how you invest your time today. Those words stayed in Hamid's mind. He decided to change his daily routine. Instead of using his phone immediately after school, he began studying for 2 focused hours. Only after finishing his study time would he allow himself entertainment. At first, this change felt difficult, but slowly his concentration improved. He understood his subjects more clearly. When the next exams arrived, he felt prepared rather than anxious. His results improved significantly. Hamid learned that success in education was not only about intelligence, it was about respecting time. Time also shapes physical health, emotional growth, and personal development. A person who spends time exercising strengthens their body. A person who spends time learning strengthens their mind. A person who spends time reflecting strengthens their wisdom. The small daily choices people make with their time eventually build their character. Imagine 2 individuals starting the same year of their lives. One person spends several hours each day learning new skills, reading, and improving themselves. The other spends most of their free time in distractions and entertainment. At the end of the year, their lives will already look different. After 5 years, the difference becomes enormous. After 10 years, the difference may be life-changing. All because of how they used their time. Time is also closely connected with patience. Great achievements rarely happen quickly. Building knowledge requires time. Developing expertise requires time. Creating meaningful success requires time. But many people give up early because they expect instant results. They forget that time works like a quiet partner in every effort. It multiplies the results of consistent action. The person who practices a skill every day becomes skilled. The person who reads every day becomes knowledgeable. The person who improves daily becomes extraordinary over time. Time rewards consistency. Another important truth about time is that it reminds us of the temporary nature of life. Human life is not endless. Each year that passes is a year that will never return. This realization should not create fear. Instead, should create awareness. When people understand that time is limited, they begin to appreciate it more deeply. They stop postponing meaningful goals. They stop delaying important conversations. They stop wasting energy on unnecessary negativity. Instead, they begin focusing on what truly matters: learning, growing, helping others, building meaningful work, creating memories. Time becomes more than a measurement. It becomes a guide for living with purpose. There is also a powerful connection between time and discipline. Many people wait for motivation before using their time productively. But motivation is unpredictable. Some days it appears strongly. Other days it disappears completely. People who rely only on motivation often waste large amounts of time waiting for the perfect mood. Disciplined individuals behave differently. They create routines that protect their time. They decide in advance how they will spend their hours. They act even when they do not feel perfectly motivated. Because they understand something important. Action creates motivation. The moment a person begins working, the mind becomes more engaged. Energy increases. Focus improves. Time begins to produce results. The lesson of time is therefore not only about working constantly. It is about using time intentionally. Rest is also valuable. Relaxation helps the mind recover. Spending time with family and friends creates emotional balance. But the difference lies in awareness. Wise people choose how they spend their time. They do not allow time to disappear without purpose. Every person receives the same 24 hours each day. Yet the outcomes of their lives can be dramatically different. The difference is not the number of hours. The difference is the value placed on those hours. People who respect time build progress. People who ignore time often build regret. This is why learning the lesson of time early in life can transform a future. It encourages action today instead of endless postponement. It encouraged learning today instead of waiting for tomorrow. It encouraged growth today instead of comfort alone. Every great achievement in history was built through thousands of small moments of effort. Every expert once spent years practicing their craft. Every successful person once used their time quietly while others were distracted. Time, therefore, becomes the foundation of all progress. The beautiful truth is that it is never too late to begin respecting time. A person may have wasted years, but the moment they decide to change their habits, the future begins to change. A single focused hour today is more powerful than many wasted hours yesterday. The lesson of time teaches patience, discipline, awareness, and purpose. When someone truly understands this lesson, their daily choices become wiser. They begin to live intentionally rather than accidentally. And slowly their life becomes a reflection of how wisely they used the most valuable gift they ever received: time itself. Chapter 3. The Lesson of Discipline. One of the most powerful forces behind success, growth, and personal transformation is discipline. Many people believe success is created by motivation, excitement, or sudden inspiration. Motivation can feel strong and exciting. It can push a person to start something new. But motivation is temporary. Some days motivation feels powerful. Other days, it completely disappears. When motivation disappears, many people stop working toward their goals. This is why many dreams begin with excitement, but slowly fade away. Discipline is different. Discipline does not depend on emotions. Discipline means doing what must be done, even when a person does not feel like doing it. It means continuing the journey even when the path becomes difficult. Discipline is the quiet strength that builds powerful lives. A disciplined person may not always feel motivated, but they continue moving forward. They follow their routine, they respect their commitments, they complete their responsibilities. Because of this consistency, discipline slowly transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. To understand the power of discipline, imagine the story of a young athlete named Hamza. Hamza had always loved running. As a child, he enjoyed racing his friends in open fields near his home. People often told him he was naturally fast. These compliments made him dream about becoming a professional runner one day. When Hamza joined a local athletics club, he began training seriously. At the beginning, everything felt exciting. He woke up early every morning. He ran long distances. He trained with enthusiasm. But after several weeks, something changed. The excitement slowly disappeared. Some mornings the weather was cold. Some mornings he felt tired. Some days his body felt sore from training. On those days, he stayed in bed and skipped practice. At first, he believed missing a few days would not matter. But those few days slowly became many days. His progress stopped improving. While other athletes became faster and stronger, Hamza remained at the same level. One day, his coach noticed the pattern. The coach called Hamza aside and asked him a simple question. Do you want to become a champion, or do you only want to feel like a champion when motivation appears? Hamza did not understand, so the coach explained something important. Champions are not created by motivation. Champions are created by discipline. Motivation starts the journey, but discipline finishes it. Those words stayed in Hamza's mind. He realized he had been training only when he felt excited. But true athletes train even when excitement disappears. From that day forward, Hamza changed his mindset. He created a strict daily routine. He woke up early every morning, regardless of how he felt. He trained in cold mornings. He trained in hot afternoons. He trained when he felt energetic and when he felt tired. At first it felt difficult. But something surprising happened after several months. Training no longer required motivation. It became a habit. His body and mind adapted to the routine. His speed improved. His endurance increased. His confidence grew stronger. Years later, Hamza competed in national-level competitions. People who saw his success believed he must have special talent. But Hamza knew the truth. His success came from thousands of mornings when discipline was stronger than comfort. This is the hidden power of discipline. It builds progress slowly and quietly. Many people search for quick results. They want success immediately, but discipline teaches patience. It reminds us that greatness is built through repeated effort. Consider another story about a student named Amina. Amina dreamed of becoming a doctor. She knew medical education required many years of study. But in the beginning, she struggled to concentrate. Whenever she opened her books, she quickly became distracted. She checked her phone. She spoke with friends. She postponed her studies again and again. Each evening she promised herself she would study seriously the next day. But the pattern continued. When exam season arrived, she felt overwhelmed and anxious. One day, her older sister gave her advice. Your dream is strong, but your discipline must become stronger than your distractions. Those words made Amina reflect deeply. She realized that desire alone would not create success. She needed consistent effort. So she decided to change her daily habits. She created a study schedule and followed it every day. Every morning she studied before using her phone. Every evening she reviewed what she had learned during the day. At first, the routine felt difficult, because her mind was used to distractions. But after several weeks, studying became easier. Her concentration improved. She understood complex subjects more clearly. By the end of the year, her results were among the best in her class. Years later, Amina entered medical school and continued working toward her dream. When people asked how she achieved such strong academic results, she answered honestly, "Discipline turned my dream into daily action. Without discipline, my dream would have remained only an idea." This lesson is important for every area of life. Discipline strengthens physical health. A person who exercises regularly becomes stronger. Discipline strengthens knowledge. A person who studies consistently becomes intelligent. Discipline strengthens character. A person who keeps their promises becomes trustworthy. The greatest achievements in history were built on discipline. Inventors who changed technology worked through years of experiments. Artists who created masterpieces practiced their craft every day. Athletes who broke records trained with relentless dedication. None of these achievements appeared suddenly. They were built step by step through disciplined effort. Another important aspect of discipline is the ability to resist short-term comfort for long-term benefit. The human mind naturally seeks comfort. Comfort feels pleasant and safe. But constant comfort often prevents growth. Growth usually requires effort, patience, and temporary difficulty. A disciplined person understands this balance. They accept short-term challenges because they are focused on long-term rewards. For example, someone who wants strong physical health may wake up early to exercise, even when sleeping longer feels comfortable. A student may choose to study instead of watching entertainment because they value their future education. An entrepreneur may work long hours, developing a business instead of relaxing because they believe in their vision. In each case, discipline guides the decision. It reminds the person of their greater purpose. Discipline also creates self-respect. When people follow their commitments, they develop trust in themselves. Each completed task strengthens confidence. Each fulfilled promise builds inner strength. Over time, disciplined individuals begin to believe deeply in their own ability to achieve goals. This belief becomes a powerful source of motivation. Another interesting truth about discipline is that it simplifies life. They rush to complete tasks at the last moment. They feel constant pressure and stress. They struggle to maintain balance. Disciplined individuals create structure. Their routines organize their time. Their habits support their goals. Because of this structure, they experience greater clarity and peace. It is also important to understand that discipline is not something people are born with. It is a skill that develops through practice. At first, discipline may feel uncomfortable. But with repetition, it becomes easier. Each time a person chooses action over laziness, discipline becomes stronger. Each time they complete a difficult task, discipline grows. Eventually, disciplined behavior becomes natural. The key is starting with small commitments. Small daily habits can slowly transform a life. Reading a few pages every day builds knowledge. Practicing a skill for a short time daily builds expertise. Saving small amounts of money regularly builds financial security. Over time, these small actions create enormous results. Discipline, therefore, acts like a silent architect shaping the future. While others rely on occasional bursts of effort, disciplined individuals build steady progress. Years later, the difference becomes clear. Their knowledge becomes deeper. Their skills become stronger. Their achievements become greater. And all of it began with the simple decision to act consistently. The lesson of discipline teaches a powerful truth. Success does not belong only to the most talented people. Success often belongs to those who remain consistent when others stop. Those who keep moving when motivation disappears. Those who continue building even when progress feels slow. Every human being has the ability to develop discipline. It begins with one decision. The decision to act according to purpose rather than mood. When a person learns this lesson, their life begins to change. Goals become achievable. Dreams become practical. Potential becomes reality. And the quiet strength behind all of it is Discipline. Chapter 4. The Lesson of Failure. One of the most misunderstood experiences in human life is failure. Many people fear failure so deeply that they avoid taking risks. They avoid trying new things. They avoid chasing big dreams. They avoid stepping outside their comfort zone. The fear of failing becomes stronger than the desire to grow. Because of this fear, many people live smaller lives than they are capable of living. But the truth about failure is very different from what most people believe. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the journey toward success. Every successful person in history has faced failure many times. Inventors failed before discovering new ideas. Writers faced rejection before publishing books. Athletes lost competitions before winning championships. Entrepreneurs watched businesses collapse before building successful ones. Failure is not proof that someone is incapable. Failure is proof that someone is trying. It is also one of the greatest teachers in life. Failure reveals weaknesses. Failure exposes mistakes. Failure shows where improvement is needed. If a person learns from failure, they become stronger, wiser, and more capable. But if a person fears failure, they remain stuck in the same place. To understand this lesson, imagine the story of a young entrepreneur named Bilal. Bilal always dreamed of starting his own business. He wanted to create something meaningful and support his family. After saving some money, he decided to start a small shop selling handmade products. At the beginning, he felt excited and hopeful. He believed success would come quickly. But reality was very different. Customers were few. Expenses were high. Many days passed without any sales. Bilal tried advertising his products, but the results were still disappointing. After several months, the business could no longer survive. He had lost most of his savings. The shop closed, and Bilal felt deeply embarrassed. Friends and relatives questioned his decision. Some people told him he should never try business again. For several weeks, Bilal felt discouraged. He believed his failure proved that he was not capable. But one evening he began thinking differently. Instead of asking why he failed, he asked what he could learn. He realized he had made many mistakes. He had not studied the market carefully. He had not understood what customers really wanted. He had not learned enough about marketing and business planning. These mistakes were painful, but they also carried valuable lessons. Bilal decided that failure would not be the end of his journey. It would become the beginning of learning. He spent the next 2 years studying business strategies. He spoke with experienced entrepreneurs. He learned about customer behavior marketing methods and financial planning. Slowly his understanding improved. After gaining more knowledge and confidence, he started another business. This time, his approach was different. He carefully researched his products. He understood customer needs. He promoted his work effectively. The business began growing steadily. Within a few years, it became successful and provided income for many people. When people asked Bilal about his success, he always shared an honest answer. My first failure was my most valuable teacher. Without that failure, I would never have learned what success required. This story shows a powerful truth. Failure becomes valuable only when a person chooses to learn from it. If someone allows failure to destroy their confidence, the experience becomes painful but useless. But if someone studies their failure, the experience becomes a powerful source of wisdom. Another example can be seen in the story of a young student named Hassan. Hassan always dreamed of becoming an engineer. But during his first year at university, he struggled with several difficult subjects. He found advanced mathematics extremely challenging. Despite studying, he failed an important exam. When he saw his result, he felt devastated. He believed his dream of becoming an engineer was over. Many students around him seemed more intelligent and confident. For several days, Hassan considered leaving the program. But his father gave him simple advice. Failure does not mean you are not capable. Failure means you have discovered where you must grow stronger. Those words changed his thinking. Instead of giving up, Hassan decided to improve his approach. He asked his professors. He joined study groups with classmates. He practiced mathematics every day with patience and persistence. Slowly, the subject that once seemed impossible began to make sense. His confidence returned. By the end of the next academic year, Hassan passed the same subject with strong results. Years later, he graduated as an engineer. Looking back, he realized something important. Failing that exam was not the end of his dream. It was the moment that forced him to become stronger. Failure often pushes people to grow in ways comfort never could. Comfort allows people to remain the same. Failure challenges them to improve. It forces them to develop new strategies. It encourages them to strengthen their skills. It pushes them to become more resilient. Resilience is one of the greatest qualities a person can develop. Resilient people do not collapse when life becomes difficult. They adapt. They learn. They continue moving forward. Failure is one of the experiences that builds resilience. Each time a person recovers from failure, their mental strength increases. They begin to understand that mistakes are temporary. They realize that effort and persistence can overcome many obstacles. Another powerful lesson from failure is humility. Success can sometimes create pride and overconfidence. But failure reminds people that improvement is always possible. It keeps the mind open to learning. It encourages curiosity and reflection. People who learn from failure often become wiser than those who never experience difficulty. History contains many famous examples of individuals who faced repeated failure before achieving greatness. Many inventors spent years testing unsuccessful ideas before creating revolutionary inventions. Many authors received countless rejection letters before their books were finally accepted. Many athletes lost numerous competitions before standing on the podium as champions. Their stories reveal an important pattern. Failure was never the final chapter. It was simply a step in the process. Another important truth about failure is that it often reveals a person's true determination. Anyone can pursue a dream when everything is going well. But true passion becomes visible during difficult moments. When obstacles appear, some people quit immediately. Others pause, but eventually continue. The individuals who continue learning and trying are the ones who eventually reach their goals. Failure also teaches patience. Many people expect success to happen quickly. But meaningful achievements often require years of effort. During those years, mistakes and setbacks are inevitable. Learning to accept these challenges with patience is part of personal growth. Failure also encourages creativity. When one approach does not work, a person must search for another solution. This process of experimentation often leads to new ideas and better methods. In many cases, the path discovered after failure becomes more effective than the original plan. The most important lesson about failure is that it should never define a person. A single mistake does not determine the value of a life. A failed attempt does not erase potential. Every human being has the ability to learn, adapt, and try again. What truly matters is the response to failure. Some people allow it to end their journey. Others use it as fuel for determination. The second group eventually discovers something powerful. Failure is not a wall. Failure is a teacher. Every lesson it provides can strengthen the mind, sharpen skills, and guide a person toward greater success. When someone truly understands this lesson, fear begins to disappear. They no longer avoid challenges. They begin exploring opportunities with courage. They try new ideas. They pursue meaningful goals. And when failure appears, they welcome it as part of the process of growth. The lesson of failure, therefore, becomes one of the most valuable lessons in life. It transforms fear into learning. It transforms mistakes into wisdom. It transforms setbacks into stepping stones. And through this transformation, people discover their true strength and potential. Chapter 5. The lesson of patience. One of the most important lessons in life is the lesson of patience. Many people want success quickly. They want results immediately. They want their dreams to appear without long effort. They want change to happen overnight. But life rarely works in this way. Most meaningful achievements require time, dedication, and steady progress. Patience is the ability to continue moving forward even when results are slow. It is the strength to trust the process even when the outcome is not yet visible. Without patience, many people give up too early. They start something with excitement, but stop when progress feels slow. They believe nothing is happening. In reality, progress is often happening quietly beneath the surface. Patience allows a person to continue long enough for results to appear. Imagine the story of a young farmer named Rahim. Rahim inherited a small piece of land. He dreamed of growing healthy crops and supporting his family through farming. When he planted his first seeds, he expected to see growth quickly. Every morning he visited the field looking for signs of progress. After a few days, he felt disappointed. The soil looked the same. Nothing seemed to be growing. Rahim became impatient. He wondered if the seeds were useless. But an older farmer from the village explained something important. Seeds grow slowly under the soil before they appear above the ground. Just because you cannot see the progress does not mean progress is not happening. Rahim understood that farming required patience. He continued watering the soil and caring for the land. Every day. Weeks later, small green plants began to appear. Months later, the field became full of healthy crops. Rahim realized something powerful. If he had given up early, he would never have seen the harvest. This story represents many experiences in life. Growth often happens quietly before visible results appear. Skills develop slowly. Knowledge grows gradually. Success builds step by step. Patience allows these processes to unfold naturally. Another example can be seen in the story of a young musician named Adil. Adil loved playing. He dreamed of becoming a talented musician who could perform beautiful music. But when he first started learning the instrument, he struggled. His fingers felt stiff. The sounds he produced were not pleasant. Simple songs felt extremely difficult. After several weeks, he felt discouraged. He believed he did not have enough talent. He considered giving up the instrument. But his teacher shared a simple truth. Every musician you admire once sounded exactly like you. Skill is not created instantly. Skill grows through patient practice. Those words changed Adil's thinking. Instead of expecting quick mastery, he decided to focus on steady improvement. Every day he practiced for a short period. He repeated basic exercises again and again. At first, progress felt slow, but after several months, his fingers became stronger. The sounds from his guitar became clearer and more beautiful. After several years of practice, he became a skilled musician. People who heard him play admired his ability. But few people saw the years of patient effort behind that ability. Patience plays an important role in learning. When people try to understand new subjects, their minds need time to absorb information. Sometimes ideas seem confusing at first, but with repeated study and reflection, clarity appears. Students who remain patient often develop deeper understanding. Those who rush often become frustrated. Patience also plays a powerful role in personal growth. Human beings are not perfect. Everyone has weaknesses and habits that need improvement. Changing these habits requires time and consistency. For example, someone who wishes to become healthier must develop new routines. They may begin exercising regularly. They may choose healthier food. But physical transformation does not happen in a few days. It may take months or even years. Without patience, many people stop their efforts too soon. With patience, they continue long enough to see real change. Another area where patience becomes valuable is relationships. Human relationships require understanding, trust, and communication. These qualities develop slowly through shared experiences. When people expect immediate perfection in relationships, they often become disappointed. Patience allows relationships to grow naturally. It allows individuals to understand each other more deeply. It creates stronger bonds over time. Patience is also closely connected with emotional strength. Life contains many challenges and unexpected difficulties. Sometimes plans fail. Sometimes opportunities are delayed. Sometimes problems appear without warning. During such moments, impatience can create frustration, anger, and despair. Patience helps the mind remain calm. It reminds a person that difficult situations are often temporary. It encourages thoughtful decisions instead of emotional reactions. History provides many examples of individuals whose patience led to remarkable achievements. Great scientists spent years researching complex problems before discovering solutions. Writers spent long periods refining their ideas before creating meaningful books. Entrepreneurs invested years building businesses before reaching success. Their patience allowed them to continue working even when results were not immediate. One of the most powerful truths about patience is that it strengthens character. A patient person learns to control. They resist the desire for instant gratification. They focus on long-term goals rather than short-term comfort. This ability creates maturity and wisdom. Another important lesson about patience is trusting the process. Many valuable processes in life require time. Education requires years of learning. Building expertise requires years of practice. Creating meaningful success requires consistent effort over time. When people trust the process, they focus on daily actions rather than immediate outcomes. They understand that small improvements accumulate into significant achievements. For example, a writer who writes a few pages every day eventually completes a book. A student who studies consistently eventually masters difficult subjects. An athlete who trains regularly eventually becomes stronger and faster. Each step may seem small, but patience allows these steps to build powerful results. Patience also protects people from making poor decisions. Impatient individuals often act quickly without careful thought. They may abandon important goals because progress feels slow. They may chase shortcuts that lead to failure. Patient individuals think differently. They pause before reacting. They analyze situations carefully. They make thoughtful choices that support long-term success. Another valuable aspect of patience is gratitude for the present moment. When people constantly rush toward the future, they often forget to appreciate the present. Patience encourages mindfulness. It allows individuals to enjoy the journey rather than focusing only on the destination. A student can enjoy learning new ideas. An artist can enjoy the process of creation. An athlete can enjoy the experience of training. Life becomes richer when the journey itself is valued. The lesson of patience reminds us that meaningful progress rarely happens instantly. Just as a tree grows slowly from a tiny seed, human potential grows gradually through consistent effort. Every day of patience becomes an investment in the future. People who learn this lesson develop remarkable strength. They remain calm when progress is slow. They continue working when others give up. They trust that dedication will eventually produce results. Over time, patience becomes one of their greatest advantages. While others rush and abandon their goals, patient individuals continue building quietly. Years later, their efforts produce visible success. And people often call it sudden success, even though it was built through years of patience. The truth is simple. Patience is not passive waiting. Patience is active persistence. It is the determination to keep moving forward while trusting that progress will come. When a person truly understands this lesson, they gain a powerful ability. They gain the ability to remain steady during uncertainty. They gain the ability to work consistently without frustration. They gain the ability to transform long-term dreams into reality. Because in the journey of life, patience is often the bridge between effort and success. Chapter 6. The Lesson of Positive Thinking. One of the most powerful lessons a person can learn in life is the power of positive thinking. The human mind is constantly creating thoughts. Some thoughts are hopeful and encouraging. Some thoughts are negative and discouraging. These thoughts shape the way people see the world and the way they respond to challenges. Two people can face the same situation and experience it very differently. One person may feel defeated and hopeless. Another person may feel determined and optimistic. The difference often lies in their mindset. Positive thinking does not mean ignoring problems or pretending that difficulties do not exist. Positive thinking means choosing to believe that solutions are possible. It means focusing on opportunities instead of only focusing on obstacles. This simple shift in thinking can change the direction of a life. Imagine the story of a young man named Samir. Samir worked in a small company where his responsibilities were simple and repetitive. For several years, he felt frustrated because he believed his job had no future. Every day he complained about his situation. He believed his life was stuck. Whenever he faced challenges, he quickly assumed things would never improve. Because of these negative thoughts, he stopped trying to improve himself. He avoided learning new skills. He avoided taking initiative. He believed effort would not change anything. One day, the company hired a new manager named Farhan. Farhan had a very different attitude. Whenever problems appeared, he focused on finding solutions. Whenever something failed, he looked for lessons instead of blaming others. Samir noticed that Farhan always spoke with optimism. Even during stressful situations, Farhan remained calm and confident. Curious about this attitude, Samir asked him a question. Why do you always think positively, even when things go wrong? Farhan smiled and shared an important idea. The mind becomes stronger when it searches for possibilities instead of problems. When we focus only on negativity, we train our minds to see limitations. When we focus on possibilities, we train our minds to find solutions. Those words stayed in Samir's mind. For the first time, he realized that his own thoughts might be limiting his progress. Instead of waiting for his circumstances to improve, he decided to change his mindset. He began asking himself new questions. What can I learn from this situation? What skill can I develop today? What opportunity might exist that I have not noticed before? Slowly his attitude changed. Instead of complaining about his work, he began improving his abilities. He learned new computer skills. He volunteered for additional responsibilities. He offered ideas to improve the company processes. His positive mindset created energy and enthusiasm. Managers noticed his initiative. Within a year, he received a promotion. Later, he moved into a leadership role where he helped guide other employees. Samir often reflected on the change that transformed his life. The biggest change was not the promotion. The biggest change was the way he thought. Positive thinking opened his mind to possibilities he had never seen before. This story shows how thoughts influence actions. Negative thoughts often create hesitation, fear, and inaction. Positive thoughts create motivation, courage, and creativity. Another example can be seen in the story of a young student named Aisha. Aisha always wanted to excel in her studies. But mathematics was a subject that made her feel anxious. Whenever she opened her mathematics textbook, she immediately thought, "This subject is too difficult for me." Because of this belief, she felt nervous during lessons. She avoided practicing difficult problems. Her results remained poor, and her confidence continued to decrease. One day, her teacher noticed her struggle. Instead of criticizing her, the teacher offered encouragement. He explained that many students believe mathematics is difficult simply because they approach it with fear. The teacher asked Aisha to change one thing. Every time she faced a challenging problem, she should say to herself, "I may not understand it yet, but I will learn it step by step." This small change created a new mindset. Instead of assuming failure, she allowed herself the possibility of improvement. With patience and practice, her understanding began to grow. Her fears slowly disappeared. By the end of the school year, she was solving problems that once seemed impossible. Her success did not come from sudden intelligence. It came from changing her thoughts. Positive thinking also influences emotional health. When people constantly think negative thoughts, their minds become filled with stress and anxiety. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They focus on past mistakes. They doubt their abilities. These patterns create emotional exhaustion. Positive thinking creates a healthier emotional environment. It encourages hope and resilience. When problems appear, a positive thinker does not collapse into despair. Instead, they look for constructive responses. They believe that difficulties can be temporary and manageable. Another powerful aspect of positive thinking is its influence on persistence. When people believe success is possible, they are more willing to continue trying. When people believe failure is inevitable, they often stop before achieving their goals. A hopeful mindset, therefore, becomes a source of endurance. Athletes often demonstrate this principle clearly. Consider a runner preparing for an important race. During training, the runner experiences fatigue and discomfort. If their thoughts are negative, they may say, "I cannot continue. This is too difficult." But if their thoughts remain positive, they may say, "I am becoming stronger. Every step is improving my ability." The physical challenge remains the same, but the mindset changes the response. Positive thinking also strengthens creativity. When people believe solutions exist, their minds become more open to new ideas. They experiment with different approaches. They explore possibilities they might otherwise ignore. This mindset is especially valuable in fields such as science, art, business, and innovation. Many great discoveries happened because someone believed a solution existed, even when others believed the problem was impossible. Positive thinking also improves relationships. People naturally feel more comfortable around individuals who express encouragement and optimism. A positive person uplifts others. They inspire. They create an atmosphere of hope and collaboration. Negative thinking often produces the opposite effect. Constant criticism, complaints, and pessimism create tension and discouragement. Another important truth about positive thinking is that it does not require perfect circumstances. Even in difficult situations, a person can choose constructive thoughts. This does not mean ignoring pain or hardship. It means believing that improvement is possible. For example, someone facing career challenges can choose to view the situation as an opportunity to learn new skills. Someone experiencing failure can choose to see it as preparation for future success. This perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Developing positive thinking is a process. The human mind naturally remembers negative experiences more strongly than positive ones. Because of this, people must consciously practice optimistic thinking. One effective way to develop this habit is through gratitude. When individuals regularly focus on the good aspects of their lives, their minds become more balanced. Another method is surrounding oneself with encouraging people. Positive environments support healthy thinking. Reading inspiring books, listening to constructive ideas, and reflecting on personal progress also strengthen optimism. Over time, positive thinking becomes natural. It becomes the default response to challenges. People who develop this mindset often notice several changes in their lives. They feel more confident. They handle stress more effectively. They remain motivated even during difficulties. Their relationships improve because others appreciate their supportive attitude. Most importantly, they begin to see opportunities where others see only problems. The lesson of positive thinking reminds us that the mind is one of the most powerful tools a person possesses. Thoughts influence emotions. Emotions influence actions. Actions influence results. By guiding thoughts in a constructive direction, individuals guide their lives toward growth and success. Positive thinking does not guarantee that every situation will be easy, but it ensures that every situation can become an opportunity for learning and progress. When a person truly understands this lesson, they begin to approach life with confidence. They believe that challenges can be overcome. They believe that improvement is always possible. They believe that their efforts can create meaningful change. And with this belief, their actions begin shaping a brighter future. Because the quality of a life often begins with the quality of the thoughts that guide it. Chapter 7. The Lesson of Healthy Relationships. Human life is deeply connected with relationships. From the moment a person is born, they begin building connections with others. Family, friends, teachers, colleagues, and partners all become part of the journey of life. These relationships influence emotions, decisions, happiness, and personal growth. Because of this, one of the most important lessons a person can learn is how to build healthy relationships. A healthy relationship is based on respect, trust, honesty, and it is a connection where both people support each other and grow together. Unhealthy relationships are very different. They are filled with constant conflict, misunderstanding, selfishness, and lack of respect. Such relationships often create stress, sadness, and emotional exhaustion. Learning the lesson of healthy relationships helps a person create a life filled with support, encouragement, and meaningful connection. Imagine the story of a young man named Tariq. Tariq was intelligent and hardworking, but he struggled to maintain strong friendships. Whenever disagreements happened, he quickly became angry. He believed that if someone disagreed with him, it meant they did not respect him. Because of this, he often argued with friends and coworkers. Over time, people began avoiding him. They felt uncomfortable sharing ideas because they feared arguments. Tariq did not understand why his relationships were becoming weaker. One day, an older colleague named Imran decided to speak with him honestly. Imran explained that intelligence alone is not enough to maintain relationships. People also need patience, empathy, and respect for different opinions. Imran told him something important. A strong relationship is not about always being right. A strong relationship is about understanding and respecting each other. These words made Tariq reflect on his behavior. He realized that his reactions often created distance between himself and others. He decided to change his approach. Instead of arguing immediately, he began listening carefully. Instead of defending every opinion, he tried to understand different perspectives. Slowly, his relationships improved. Friends felt more comfortable speaking with him. Colleagues appreciated his willingness to listen. Tariq discovered that healthy relationships require emotional maturity. Listening is one of the most powerful skills in relationships. Many people focus only on expressing their own thoughts. But strong connections grow when people truly listen to each other. Listening shows respect. It allows individuals to understand feelings, experiences, and viewpoints that may be different from their own. Another important quality in relationships is trust. Trust develops gradually through honesty and consistency. When people keep their promises, others begin to rely on them. When people speak truthfully, others feel safe sharing their thoughts. Trust creates stability in relationships. Without trust, even simple misunderstandings can become serious conflicts. Consider another story about two friends named Amina and Sarah. They had known each other since childhood and shared many memories. One day, a misunderstanding occurred when Amina believed that Sarah had spoken negatively about her. Instead of asking for clarification, she assumed the worst. Sarah noticed the change and felt confused. Eventually, she asked Amina why their friendship felt different. At first, Amina hesitated, but finally she explained her concern. Sarah was surprised because she had never said anything harmful. The misunderstanding came from incorrect information shared by someone else. After speaking honestly, both friends realized how easily silence and assumptions can damage relationships. They promised to communicate openly whenever problems appeared. This experience strengthened their friendship because they learned the importance of honest conversation. Communication is therefore another essential element of healthy relationships. Clear communication prevents misunderstandings. It allows people to express feelings, needs, and expectations. When communication is respectful and honest, it builds deeper understanding. Another powerful lesson about relationships is empathy. Empathy means the ability to understand another person's emotions and experiences. Every person carries their own struggles, worries, and challenges. Sometimes people react strongly because they are dealing with stress that others cannot see. Empathy encourages patience and kindness. For example, imagine a workplace where an employee named Khalid suddenly becomes quiet and withdrawn. Some colleagues might assume he is unfriendly. But another colleague named Hamza decides to ask how he is feeling. Khalid shares that his family is facing serious difficulties. Hamza listens with understanding and offers support. This simple act of empathy transforms their relationship. Khalid feels valued and respected. Hamza becomes someone he trusts. Healthy relationships are also built on mutual support. Life contains many challenges and uncertainties. During difficult moments, supportive relationships provide strength and encouragement. A supportive friend celebrates success without jealousy. A supportive family member offers comfort during failure. A supportive partner stands beside someone during hardship. These connections create a sense of belonging. Another important lesson about relationships is the importance of boundaries. Healthy relationships require respect for personal space and individuality. Each person has their own dreams, goals, and responsibilities. Respecting boundaries means allowing others to pursue their own growth without unnecessary pressure. For example, a student preparing for important exams may need quiet time for study. A supportive friend understands this need instead of feeling ignored. Boundaries create balance and prevent resentment. Respect is another foundation of strong relationships. Respect means valuing another person's dignity, opinions, and feelings. Even when disagreements occur, respect ensures that communication remains calm and constructive. Disrespectful behavior, such as insults, criticism, or manipulation, weakens relationships quickly. Respect strengthens trust and appreciation. Another lesson in relationships is forgiveness. No human relationship is perfect. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and disappointments are inevitable. Without forgiveness, small conflicts can grow into lasting resentment. Forgiveness does not mean ignoring harmful behavior. It means choosing to release anger and focus on healing and improvement. For example, two brothers named Ali and Ahmed once argued about a family matter. For several months, they avoided speaking with each other. During that time, both felt sadness, but pride prevented them from apologizing. Eventually, their mother encouraged them to remember the importance of family. Ali decided to speak first. He apologized for harsh words spoken during the argument. Ahmed also admitted his own mistakes. Their willingness to forgive restored their relationship. They realized that protecting their bond was more important than winning an argument. Healthy relationships also require effort and attention. Just as a garden requires care to grow beautiful flowers, relationships require consistent nurturing. Simple actions such as expressing appreciation, spending quality time together, and offering help strengthen connections. Neglecting relationships can cause them to weaken gradually. People who invest time and kindness in their relationships often experience greater happiness and emotional stability. Another powerful aspect of healthy relationships is personal growth. The best relationships encourage individuals to become better versions of themselves. Friends motivate each other to pursue goals. Partners inspire each other to overcome challenges. Families support each other through learning and development. In such environments, growth becomes a shared journey. History and society show many examples of individuals whose success was supported by strong relationships. Mentors guided students toward knowledge. Families provided encouragement during difficult periods. Friends offered advice and companionship during moments of uncertainty. No person truly succeeds alone. Healthy relationships create networks of support that make achievements possible. The lesson of healthy relationships teaches that kindness, respect, and understanding are not signs of weakness. They are signs of emotional strength. People who practice these qualities build connections that enrich. They create environments filled with trust, encouragement, and cooperation. When someone learns this lesson, they begin to value people more deeply. They listen with attention. They communicate with honesty. They treat others with respect and empathy. And in return, they often receive loyalty, friendship, and support. Life becomes more meaningful when shared with others who care and understand. Because at the heart of human happiness lies the simple but powerful experience of genuine connection. Healthy relationships transform ordinary moments into lasting memories. They provide comfort during difficult times. They celebrate achievements with joy. And they remind every person that they are not walking the journey of life alone. Chapter 8. The lesson of courage. One of the most powerful qualities a person can develop in life is courage. Courage is often misunderstood. Many people believe courage means having no fear. But the truth is different. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means moving forward, even when fear exists. Every human being experiences fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of criticism. Fear of the unknown. These fears can become powerful barriers. They can prevent people from chasing their dreams. They can stop people from speaking their truth. They can hold people back from trying new opportunities. The lesson of courage teaches that growth begins where fear ends. When people learn to face fear instead of avoiding it, their lives begin to change. Imagine the story of a young woman named Nadia. Nadia always had creative ideas and dreams of starting her own business. She loved designing handmade products and believed people would enjoy them. But she never acted on her idea. Each time she thought about starting her business, fear appeared. She worried that people might criticize her work. She worried that the business might fail. She worried that others might think her dream was unrealistic. Because of these fears, she kept her ideas hidden. Years passed, and her dream remained only a thought. One day, Nadia attended a small event where local entrepreneurs shared their stories. She listened carefully as one speaker described his journey. The speaker explained that when he first started his business, he was also afraid, but he realized something important. Fear will always exist, but courage decides whether you move forward or remain stuck. Those words stayed in Nadia's mind. For the first time, she understood that waiting for fear to disappear might mean waiting forever. Instead, she decided to take one small step. She created a few designs and shared them with friends. At first, she felt nervous and uncertain, but her friends responded with encouragement. They appreciated her creativity and suggested she share her work with more people. Slowly, Nadia gained confidence. She began selling her products online. Her first sales were small, but they filled her with excitement. Each step required courage, but each step also made her stronger. After several years, her small idea grew into a successful business. Looking back, she realized something. The biggest obstacle was never lack of talent or opportunity. The biggest obstacle was fear. Once she learned to act with courage, her path opened. Courage is not always about large dramatic actions. Often courage appears in small decisions. Speaking honestly in a difficult conversation requires courage. Admitting a mistake requires courage. Standing up for fairness and justice requires courage. Trying again after failure requires courage. These everyday acts of courage gradually build a strong character. Another example can be seen in the story of a student named Hamid. Hamid was quiet and shy. In school, he understood many lessons, but rarely spoke in class. Whenever the teacher asked questions, his heart began beating quickly. He feared that if he answered incorrectly, his classmates might laugh. Because of this fear, he remained silent, even when he knew the answer. One day, the teacher noticed Hamid's hesitation. After class, the teacher encouraged him to participate. The teacher explained that learning often requires courage. Mistakes are not signs of weakness, but opportunities to grow. The next day, Hamid decided to try. When the teacher asked a question, he slowly raised his hand. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. Some classmates looked surprised because he rarely participated. Although his answer was not perfect, the teacher appreciated his effort. That small moment changed Hamid's confidence. He realized that speaking in class was not as frightening as he imagined. With practice, his courage grew. Soon he began sharing ideas more comfortably. By the end of the year, he had become one of the most active students in the class. Hamid learned that courage often begins with a single step. Another important area where courage is needed is pursuing dreams. Many people have dreams that remain hidden inside their minds. They imagine writing a book, starting a business, traveling the world, learning new skills, helping others in meaningful ways. What if I fail? What if people criticize me? What if I am not good enough? These doubts can become chains that hold dreams in place. Courage breaks these chains. It allows people to say, I may feel uncertain, but I will try. Trying does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees progress, learning, and experience. Another powerful form of courage is moral courage. Moral courage means doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Sometimes people witness unfair treatment or dishonesty. Remaining silent may feel easier, but it allows injustice to continue. Speaking up requires bravery. Consider a young employee named Arif, who worked in a company where one colleague was often treated unfairly. Many employees noticed the situation, but remained silent because they feared losing favor with their supervisors. Arif felt uncomfortable watching the unfair treatment. After careful thought, he decided to respectfully speak with management. He explained the situation calmly and suggested fairer treatment for everyone. At first he felt nervous because he did not know how management would respond. But his honesty and courage led to positive change. The company began addressing the issue and creating a more respectful environment. Arif learned that courage can create improvement, not only for oneself, but also for others. Courage is also essential during difficult times. Life sometimes brings unexpected challenges. People may face loss, disappointment, illness, or uncertainty. During these moments, courage helps individuals remain strong. It encourages them to continue moving forward, even when the path feels uncertain. For example, a young athlete named Zayn once suffered an injury that prevented him from competing for several months. At first, he felt discouraged and worried that his career might end. But his coach reminded him that courage is not only shown in competition, courage is also shown during recovery. Zayn followed a careful rehabilitation program. Day by day, he rebuilt his strength. His patience and courage allowed him to return to the sport he loved. Eventually, he competed again with even greater determination. This experience taught him that courage includes persistence during hardship. Another truth about courage is that it grows through practice. The first courageous action may feel extremely difficult. But each time a person faces fear, their confidence increases. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become manageable. Over time, courage becomes part of a person's character. It becomes the habit of choosing action over hesitation. Courage also inspires others. When people witness someone facing challenges bravely, they often feel motivated to do the same. A courageous student encourages classmates to participate. A courageous leader inspires a team to overcome obstacles. A courageous individual can influence an entire community. History offers many examples of individuals whose courage changed the world. Leaders who stood against injustice. Scientists who pursued discoveries despite skepticism. Artists who expressed bold ideas that challenged society. Their courage created progress and transformation. The lesson of courage reminds us that fear is a natural part of life, but fear should not control decisions. When people allow courage to guide them, they discover opportunities that once seemed unreachable. They speak honestly. They try new experiences. They pursue meaningful goals. They stand for what is right. Each act of courage expands the boundaries of what is possible. Life becomes an adventure rather than a series of limitations. A courageous person understands that failure is not the worst outcome. The worst outcome is never trying. Because dreams cannot grow in silence. Dreams grow when courage gives them the chance to exist. When someone truly learns the lesson of courage, they stop waiting for perfect conditions. They begin acting despite uncertainty. They understand that strength is built through facing challenges. And step by step, they create a life filled with purpose, achievement, and personal freedom. Because courage transforms fear into opportunity and hesitation into action. Chapter 9. The lesson of patience and trusting the journey. Life often feels like a race where everyone around us seems to be moving faster, reaching goals. In such moments, it becomes easy to feel that we are falling behind. Many people measure their worth by comparing their timeline with the timeline of others. But one of the most powerful lessons that transforms a life forever is learning patience and trusting the journey of your own path. Patience is not simply the ability to wait. Patience is the ability to stay calm, hopeful, and focused while you wait. It is the quiet strength that allows a person to continue moving forward, even when results are not visible yet. Many great achievements in life require time, growth, and consistent effort. When a person learns patience, they begin to understand that meaningful success is rarely instant. Think about a farmer planting seeds in a field. After placing seeds into the soil, the farmer does not stand in the field expecting crops to appear the next morning. The farmer waters the soil, protects the land, and waits through the passing days. There is trust in the process. There is faith that the unseen work happening under the soil will eventually produce life above the ground. Life works in a very similar way. Many people quit too early because they cannot see immediate results. They work for a few days or a few months, and when success does not arrive, they believe their effort was useless. But in reality, growth is happening quietly beneath the surface. Skills are improving, strength is developing, and experience is being built. Patience allows a person to stay long enough for this invisible growth to finally become visible. Consider the story of a young man named Ahmed who dreamed of becoming a writer. When he first started writing, his stories were simple and his ideas were not very strong. He sent his work to publishers, and every response was a rejection. Some of his friends told him to stop because they believed writing was a waste of time. For a moment, Ahmed felt discouraged and questioned his dream. But instead of quitting, he chose patience. Every morning he woke up early and continued writing. He read books, studied great authors, and practiced telling better stories. Months turned into years, and slowly his writing began to change. His imagination grew deeper, and his words became stronger. One day, after many years of quiet effort, one of his stories was finally accepted by a publisher. That single moment was not just a lucky event. It was the result of years of patience and dedication. Ahmed realized that the journey had been shaping him the entire time, even when success was not visible. Patience also teaches emotional strength. Life does not always move according to our plans. Sometimes opportunities arrive later than expected. Sometimes challenges appear that slow us down. When people lack patience, these moments create frustration, anger, and hopelessness. But when patience is present, the same moments become opportunities to learn resilience. Another example can be seen in the journey of learning a skill, such as playing a musical instrument. Imagine a girl named Aisha who dreams of playing the piano beautifully. On her first day, she sits in front of the piano and presses the keys slowly. The music sounds uneven and awkward. If she expects perfection immediately, she will become disappointed and give up. But if Aisha understands patience, she will treat every practice session as a step forward. Each day her fingers move more comfortably. Each week her rhythm becomes smoother. After many months, the music begins to sound beautiful. The transformation did not happen overnight. It happened through patience and consistent effort. The same principle applies to almost every area of life. Education requires patience. Building a career requires patience. Healing emotional pain requires patience. Developing meaningful relationships requires patience. Growth is a gradual journey, and rushing the process often leads to frustration. Trusting the journey also means accepting that life unfolds in stages. Sometimes a person needs more time to prepare before reaching their goal. Challenges that appear today may actually be shaping the skills and wisdom needed for future success. When people look back at their lives, they often realize that the difficult waiting periods taught them the most valuable lessons. Imagine a young entrepreneur named Bilal, who dreams of starting his own business. He begins with excitement and energy, but the first few attempts fail. The business does not grow as he hoped, and money becomes tight. At that moment, Bilal faces an important decision. He can believe that failure means the end of his dream, or he can trust that the journey is teaching him something important. Bilal chooses patience. He studies what went wrong, learns about marketing, improves his planning, and slowly rebuilds his idea. After several years of learning, adapting, and trying again, his business finally begins to grow. The success that eventually arrives is stronger because it was built on patience, experience, and resilience. Another powerful aspect of patience is the ability to remain calm during uncertainty. Life sometimes places people in situations where the outcome is unknown. Waiting for exam results, waiting for job opportunities, or waiting for personal goals to unfold can create anxiety. But patience allows the mind to remain peaceful during these moments. A calm mind makes better decisions. When people panic, they often react impulsively. They abandon good plans, make rushed choices, or lose confidence. Patience creates space for thoughtful action. It allows individuals to evaluate situations carefully and respond with wisdom instead of fear. Trusting the journey also helps people appreciate progress rather than obsessing over the final destination. When someone focuses only on the end goal, they may miss the valuable experiences happening along the way. Every challenge, every lesson, and every small improvement becomes meaningful when viewed as part of the journey. Consider the example of a mountain climber. The climber dreams of reaching the peak of a high mountain. The journey requires strength, endurance, and patience. Along the path there are steep rocks, cold winds, and moments of exhaustion. If the climber only thinks about the peak, the journey may feel frustrating and endless. But if the climber learns to appreciate each step, the experience becomes meaningful. The fresh air, the beautiful views, and the sense of progress turn the climb into an adventure. When the climber finally reaches the top, the victory feels deeper because the entire journey was embraced. Patience also strengthens relationships with others. In friendships, family connections, and partnerships, misunderstandings sometimes occur. When people react immediately with anger or frustration, conflicts become worse. But patience allows time for listening, understanding, and forgiveness. Imagine two friends who disagree about an important decision. If both respond with impatience, the conversation may turn into an argument. But if one friend chooses patience, they pause, listen carefully, and try to understand the other perspective. This calm approach often leads to better communication and stronger trust. Learning patience also helps individuals develop confidence in their own growth. When people rush constantly, they may feel that they are never doing enough. Patience reminds us that progress takes time and that steady effort is valuable. Confidence grows when a person sees how far they have come through consistent dedication. Nature itself teaches the lesson of patience. Trees do not grow tall in a single season. Rivers carve valleys slowly over many years. The most beautiful landscapes on Earth are the result of time and steady natural processes. Human growth follows a similar pattern. A person who understands patience does not lose hope during slow progress. Instead, they continue planting seeds of effort every day. They know that results may take time, but the work is never wasted. There is also great peace in trusting that life has its own rhythm. Some opportunities arrive quickly, while others require long preparation. When individuals stop fighting against this rhythm and begin working with it, life feels less stressful and more meaningful. Consider the story of a student named Hassan, who dreamed of becoming a doctor. His journey through education was long and challenging. Years of study, exams, and practical training often felt exhausting. There were moments when he questioned whether the effort was worth it. But Hassan reminded himself that great goals require patience. He continued studying, learning from mistakes, and improving his knowledge. After many years, he finally stood in a hospital wearing the white coat he had once imagined. The long journey had shaped him into a skilled and compassionate doctor. Looking back, Hassan realized that patience had been one of his greatest strengths. Without patience, he might have quit during the difficult years. With patience, he allowed time to transform effort into achievement. Patience also allows people to remain hopeful during difficult seasons of life. Sometimes, circumstances such as financial struggles, personal loss, or unexpected setbacks create periods of uncertainty. During these moments, it is easy to feel that progress has stopped. But patience reminds us that difficult seasons do not last forever. Just as winter eventually gives way to spring, challenging periods eventually lead to new opportunities and growth. Holding on to patience during these times builds emotional strength and resilience. Another important part of trusting the journey is letting go of constant comparison. Every person has a unique path with different challenges, different opportunities, and different timing. When individuals constantly compare themselves to others, they create unnecessary pressure and dissatisfaction. A person who practices patience focuses on their own progress rather than the speed of others. They celebrate small improvements and remain committed to their personal journey. This mindset creates a sense of inner peace and steady motivation. Imagine two runners training for a marathon. One runner constantly looks at others, worrying about who is faster and who is ahead. This comparison creates stress and frustration. The second runner focuses on personal improvement, running a little farther and a little stronger each day. Over time, the second runner develops confidence and endurance because the focus remains on growth rather than comparison. Patience also encourages persistence. When results take time, the only way forward is to continue moving. Small daily actions become powerful when repeated consistently. Reading a few pages each day, writing a little each morning, practicing a skill regularly, or improving habits gradually, all lead to long-term transformation. Many successful people share stories about the long journeys behind their achievements. Often their success appears sudden to the outside world, but in reality, it was built through years of quiet effort, patience, and learning. Trusting the journey does not mean doing nothing while waiting. True patience includes action. It means continuing to work, learn, and improve while understanding that results may take time. This combination of effort and patience creates powerful momentum. When individuals embrace patience, their mindset begins to change. Instead of asking why success has not arrived, yet they begin asking what they can learn today. Instead of feeling frustrated by slow progress, they become curious about the lessons hidden within the journey. Over time, this mindset transforms life in a meaningful way. Goals become more achievable because persistence remains strong. Challenges become less intimidating because patience provides emotional stability. Growth becomes more enjoyable because the journey itself becomes valuable. In the end, patience is a quiet but powerful force that shapes success, character, and happiness. It teaches individuals to stay committed during uncertainty, to trust that effort will eventually create results, and to appreciate every step of the journey. A person who learns patience understands that life is not a race against others, but a personal journey of growth. With patience, the mind becomes calm, the heart remains hopeful, and the path forward becomes clear. This lesson, once truly understood, becomes a lifelong companion, guiding individuals through challenges, achievements, and everything in between. Patience reminds us that every seed planted with dedication and care will one day grow into something meaningful when given enough time and trust. Chapter 10. The Lesson of Self-Awareness. One of the most transformative lessons a person can learn in life is the lesson of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to observe your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. It is the capacity to understand your strengths and weaknesses, your desires and fears, and how your actions affect yourself and others. Without self-awareness, people often drift through life, reacting to circumstances instead of making conscious choices. They allow habits and impulses to control them, and they may repeat mistakes without understanding why. Learning self-awareness empowers a person to make better decisions, improve relationships, and achieve personal growth. Imagine the story of a young woman named Sarah. Sarah was ambitious and hardworking, but she often felt frustrated in her daily life. She found herself reacting angrily to small inconveniences and feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities. She noticed that her emotions often led to conflicts with friends and colleagues. But she did not understand the source of these reactions. One day, Sarah attended a workshop on emotional intelligence. The speaker explained the importance of self-awareness. He said that understanding your own thoughts and feelings is the first step toward controlling your actions and creating meaningful change. Sarah decided to apply this lesson in her life. She began observing her reactions during the day. Whenever she felt frustration rising, she paused and asked herself what she was really feeling and why. She noticed that many of her reactions were triggered by stress and unrealistic expectations she had set for herself. By recognizing these patterns, Sarah began to respond more consciously. Instead of reacting immediately, she paused, took a deep breath, and chose a more constructive response. Over time, her relationships improved. She became calmer at work and more patient with friends and family. Self-awareness also helps people understand their strengths. Many people focus only on weaknesses and compare themselves to others. This creates insecurity and doubt. But self-aware individuals recognize their unique talents and use them effectively. For example, a young man named Bila loved painting, but believed he was not as talented as others. Through self-awareness, he noticed that his style was unique and had its own appeal. He began practicing consistently and sharing his work with others. His confidence grew because he understood and accepted his abilities. Self-awareness also requires understanding weaknesses and limits. This does not mean being self-critical or harsh. It means honestly evaluating areas for improvement and taking responsibility for growth. For example, a student named Amina struggled with time management. She realized that procrastination and poor planning were preventing her from achieving her goals. By acknowledging this pattern, she created a structured routine and gradually improved her efficiency. Over time, Amina became more productive and less stressed. Another important aspect of self-awareness is understanding how your actions impact others. Many people act without realizing the effects of their words or behavior. Self-awareness allows empathy and mindful communication. For example, a manager named Hassan noticed that his feedback often frustrated his team. Through self-awareness, he realized that his tone was harsh, even when his intention was constructive. He adjusted his approach and began giving feedback in a supportive and encouraging way. The team became more motivated and productive. Self-awareness also strengthens decision-making. When a person understands their values, priorities, and goals clearly, they can make choices that align with their true purpose. Without self-awareness, decisions are often impulsive or influenced by external pressure. A self-aware individual evaluates options based on personal values and long-term objectives. Another powerful benefit of self-awareness is emotional regulation. When people understand their feelings, they are better equipped to manage them. They can prevent anger, anxiety, or sadness from controlling their actions. For example, a young athlete named Zayn faced high-pressure competitions. At first, he became nervous and performed poorly. Through self-awareness, he learned to identify the signs of anxiety and use relaxation techniques. His performance improved as he remained focused and calm. Self-awareness is not a skill that develops instantly. It requires consistent reflection, honesty, and curiosity about oneself. Journaling thoughts and emotions, meditation, and seeking feedback from trusted people can strengthen self-awareness. Over time, patterns become clear and decisions become more conscious. Self-awareness also enhances personal growth by encouraging lifelong learning. When a person understands their current state, they can identify areas for development. They can set realistic goals and track progress. Without self-awareness, growth is often haphazard and slow. History shows many examples of self-aware individuals who achieved greatness. Leaders who understood their strengths and limitations inspired others effectively. Inventors who recognized their areas of weakness sought collaboration and guidance. Artists who reflected on their emotions created powerful and meaningful work. The lesson of self-awareness teaches that true change begins from within. External achievements may bring temporary satisfaction, but understanding oneself creates lasting empowerment and clarity. A person who masters self-awareness can navigate life with confidence. They understand why they react a certain way, what motivates them, and how to create meaningful connections. They know that growth comes from conscious effort, reflection, and understanding. When someone truly embraces self-awareness, life becomes less chaotic. Decisions become intentional, emotions become manageable, and relationships become deeper. The journey of self-awareness transforms ordinary experiences into lessons for growth. It creates the foundation for all other life lessons, because knowing oneself is the first step toward living a fulfilling and successful life. Chapter 11. The Lesson of Gratitude. One of the most profound lessons that can transform a life is the lesson of gratitude. Gratitude is more than saying thank you or appreciating small gestures. It is a mindset that recognizes the value in every experience, every person, and every opportunity. It is the ability to see blessings, even during difficult times. Many people go through life focusing on what is missing, what has gone wrong, or what they do not have. This constant focus on lack creates dissatisfaction, stress, and unhappiness. Gratitude, on the other hand, shifts the mind toward abundance. It trains the brain to notice positive aspects of life, creating joy, resilience, and emotional strength. Imagine the story of a young woman named Layla. Layla had a busy life, working long hours and caring for her family. Despite having many achievements, she often felt frustrated. She focused on what she had not accomplished and what challenges she faced. One day, Layla's mentor advised her to start a gratitude practice. She was asked to write down 3 things she was grateful for every morning. At first, Layla found it difficult. She thought, what do I really have to be grateful for? Slowly, she began noticing simple things: a warm cup of tea in the morning, a kind message from a friend, a smile from her child. Over time, her mindset shifted. She felt happier, calmer, and more energetic. Gratitude made her focus on opportunities instead of problems. It helped her navigate stressful situations with patience and clarity. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. When people express appreciation toward others, trust and connection deepen. A simple thank you can create warmth and mutual respect. Consider 2 colleagues, Ahmed and Samina. Ahmed always helped Samina with challenging tasks, and Samina started expressing her gratitude regularly. She acknowledged his effort not only in words, but also by supporting him whenever he needed assistance. This mutual appreciation strengthened their teamwork and created a positive environment in the office. Another powerful aspect of gratitude is its effect on resilience. Life often presents challenges, failures, and setbacks. Without gratitude, these challenges can feel overwhelming and discouraging. But with a grateful mindset, difficulties become lessons and opportunities for growth. For example, a young athlete named Hassan faced repeated losses in competitions. At first, he felt frustrated and doubted his abilities. His coach encouraged him to reflect on what he had learned from each loss, what progress he had made, and what support he had in his life. By practicing gratitude for lessons learned, personal growth, and support, Hassan regained motivation. He continued training, improved his skills, and eventually achieved success in future competitions. Gratitude also transforms how people experience everyday life. Ordinary moments often pass unnoticed, yet they carry beauty and significance. A person who practices gratitude learns to notice the sunrise, the sound of birds, laughter with friends, and the taste of a favorite meal. This awareness creates a sense of fulfillment and joy, even in small experiences. Another story involves a student named Amina. She struggled with her studies and often compared herself to classmates, feeling inadequate. One day, her teacher suggested she write down things she appreciated about herself and her daily life. Amina began noticing her dedication, her small successes, and support from friends and family. This practice increased her confidence and motivation. She approached her studies with a more positive mindset, which led to better results. Gratitude also reduces negative emotions such as envy, resentment, and frustration. When people focus on what they already have, the desire for more decreases and contentment grows. This does not mean giving up ambition or goals. Rather, gratitude balances striving with appreciation, preventing dissatisfaction from taking over life. Practicing gratitude can take many forms. It can be verbal, like expressing thanks to someone. It can be written, like journaling daily blessings. It can be reflective, like taking a moment to pause and acknowledge the positive in challenging situations. Over time, these habits rewire the brain to naturally focus on abundance rather than lack. History and personal stories show that individuals who practice gratitude often lead happier, healthier, and more successful lives. Leaders express appreciation to inspire teams. Artists recognize the support and inspiration from others. Entrepreneurs acknowledge the opportunities that help their business grow. Gratitude also fosters humility. It reminds people that success is rarely achieved alone. Support from family, guidance from mentors, lessons from challenges, and even failures all contribute to growth. Humility combined with gratitude creates a balanced and grounded perspective. The lesson of gratitude ultimately teaches that life is full of gifts waiting to be noticed. Even small things, a kind word, a moment of beauty, or progress made, have value. A person who internalizes this lesson experiences life with greater joy, patience, and empathy. They approach challenges with resilience, celebrate achievements without arrogance, and connect deeply with others. When someone truly embraces gratitude, their mindset changes permanently. They understand that happiness is not in accumulating more, but in appreciating what already exists. Their life becomes richer, not because circumstances are perfect, but because they have learned to recognize the abundance that already surrounds them. Gratitude transforms ordinary existence into a life filled with joy, meaning, and fulfillment. It is a lesson that once fully understood becomes a lifelong companion, guiding every action, thought. It reminds us that no matter where we are or what we face, there is always something to be thankful for. Chapter 12. The Lesson of Purpose. One of the most important lessons that can truly transform a life is the lesson of purpose. Purpose is the understanding of why you do what you do. It is the guiding force that gives meaning to actions, decisions, and challenges. Without purpose, life can feel empty, directionless, or repetitive. People may go through daily routines without understanding why, and even achievements may feel hollow. Purpose provides clarity, motivation, and resilience. Imagine the story of a young man named Imran. Imran had a stable job, friends, and a comfortable life, yet he often felt restless and unfulfilled. He wondered why his work did not excite him, and why his achievements seemed meaningless. One day, during a quiet walk in the park, he reflected deeply on his passions, values, and dreams. He asked himself, "What impact do I want to create in the world? What matters most to me?" Through this reflection, he realized that his true passion was helping people learn and grow. This insight became his purpose. With newfound clarity, Imran started volunteering at local educational programs. He began mentoring students, creating learning workshops, and sharing knowledge. Although his financial gain was modest at first, he felt happier, motivated, and energized. Imran realized that working toward his purpose gave him fulfillment that a comfortable life alone never could. Purpose also strengthens resilience during challenges. Life inevitably presents obstacles, setbacks, and failures. Without purpose, difficulties can feel overwhelming and meaningless. But when someone understands their purpose, challenges become tests and lessons. For example, a young woman named Sana dreamed of creating a community center to help underprivileged children. Her first attempts failed due to lack of funds and bureaucratic hurdles. Many people advised her to give up, arguing that the task was too difficult. Sana felt discouraged, but remembered her purpose. She believed in the importance of helping children access education and opportunity. This purpose fueled her persistence. She sought funding, connected with volunteers, and slowly the community center began to take shape. Years later, children from her program went on to pursue education and careers they would never have imagined. Sana realized that her purpose had given her the strength to overcome obstacles that might have stopped anyone without clear direction. Purpose also enhances focus and decision-making. When a person knows what truly matters to them, they can make choices aligned with their goals and values. Without purpose, decisions can feel random or influenced by external pressures. For instance, a student named Hamza was unsure whether to study medicine or engineering. He explored his interests, reflecting on what brought him joy and fulfillment. He realized that helping people through healthcare was his true calling. With this clarity, every choice he made, courses, internships, volunteer work, was aligned with his purpose, making his efforts more meaningful and effective. Another aspect of purpose is motivation. When a person has a clear reason to act, effort feels less like a burden and more like a meaningful pursuit. Even mundane or difficult tasks become valuable when viewed as steps toward a larger goal. Consider an athlete named Adil preparing for an international competition. Training was grueling and exhausting, but his purpose to inspire young athletes from his community kept him disciplined and motivated. Purpose also creates a sense of contribution. Human beings have an innate desire to feel that their existence matters. When people pursue their purpose, they naturally create positive impact, not only for themselves, but also for others. This sense of contribution enhances fulfillment and joy. Purpose can also evolve over time. Life experiences, reflection, and learning can reveal new passions and directions. A person who embraces self-awareness and gratitude often discovers layers of purpose that guide different stages of life. For example, a teacher named Farah initially found her purpose in educating children. Later, she realized that she could extend her impact by training other teachers, writing educational resources, and advocating for better policies. Purpose becomes multidimensional, guiding actions in various areas while remaining rooted in core values. Another powerful effect of purpose is resilience against external pressures. Society often measures success by wealth, status, or recognition. People without a clear purpose may pursue these goals, only to feel unsatisfied. A person with purpose focuses on what truly matters to them, not what others expect. This inner compass provides stability and direction, even when external circumstances are challenging or confusing. Purpose also encourages continuous growth. To fulfill meaningful goals, individuals must develop skills, expand knowledge, and cultivate discipline. Purpose turns learning and improvement into a natural and motivated process rather than a forced effort. Consider the example of a social entrepreneur named Bilal. Bilal's purpose was to provide clean water to rural communities. To achieve this, he learned about water purification, project management, fundraising, and community engagement. His purpose transformed every challenge into an opportunity to grow and every failure into a lesson. Purpose also shapes legacy. When a person lives according to their purpose, their actions leave a lasting impact. This legacy may be visible in people they help, ideas they spread, or systems they improve. A life guided by purpose resonates beyond the individual, influencing families, communities, and even generations. The lesson of purpose teaches that happiness and fulfillment are not random, they are the result of understanding why we exist, what matters to us, and how we can contribute meaningfully. A person who embraces this lesson experiences life with clarity, direction, and passion. They understand that success is not simply material achievement, but the alignment of action, values, and meaning. When purpose guides life, every decision, challenge, and experience carries significance. Every failure becomes a lesson, every effort becomes a step forward, and every success becomes deeply fulfilling. Purpose transforms existence from a series of events into a meaningful journey. It turns ordinary days into deliberate action and fleeting moments into meaningful experiences. When someone truly understands the lesson of purpose, life becomes a powerful expression of their values, talents, and dreams. They do not simply live, they create, inspire, and leave a mark that endures beyond themselves. And through this understanding, they unlock the ultimate potential of a human life, living fully, intentionally, and with lasting fulfillment at the end.
Kindly subscribe to my channel.